Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman, and in this video we're going to be talking about trading options in an IRA. And to really kick that off, I guess the big grapefruit question out there is, can you trade options in your IRA? The answer is yes, of course you can. But from brokerage firm to brokerage firm, options approvals differ, sometimes vastly differ. So certain brokerage firms, you'll call them and you'll ask them like, hey, can I trade an option in my IRA? And they go, well, absolutely. Other brokerage firms will say, no, we don't allow options trading inside of an IRA. So it is brokerage firm specific, and you have to recognize that going in. Here, you can see I am using the thinkorswim trading application. After 15 years there, I can't get away from the splash of thinkorswim. So thinkorswim, of course, is TD Ameritrade. And yes, at TD Ameritrade, you can, in fact, trade options in your IRA. What can you do? What can't you do? Well, there are different levels of options trading based on experience. Okay, so for example, some brokerage firms have what they call 4 levels. Some firms have 3 levels. Currently at TD Ameritrade, they have 3 different levels of options approval. And depending upon your experience, the amount of capital within your IRA, you can be approved for various levels. Neither here nor there. Let me explain, though, at the top tier, the types of trades that you can and cannot do. First of all, can you go out there and buy calls? Sure, you can buy calls, you can buy puts. Okay, so you can trade single options, you can buy calls and buy puts. Now, we haven't talked about selling yet, and we're going to come to that momentarily. The next thing, well, I want to be able to buy calls. Well, you can do that with the right approval. You can buy puts with the right approval. What else can you do? You can go out there and you can sell covered calls. That is, here on Facebook, I could buy the stock and I could sell a call against that stock. So you could actually do the covered call, the age-old covered call. You can even do it as technically as one trade. And here it's, on thinkorswim, if you go to the option that you intend to sell, you go up to right-click and buy, and come over here to covered stock and left-click on that, and it'll actually bring up buying the stock and selling, for instance, in this case, the 109 calls with 10 days remaining to expiration for a net debit. So yeah, you can buy the stock and sell the call. So that's your covered call. What else can I do? Well, you can do spreads. Now here's where, again, approval matters. So I right click and I can do all kinds of crazy spreads. I can do verticals and I can do calendars, and I could even turn around and I could sell something like an iron condor, which is just selling 2 vertical spreads. You could buy butterflies. You could do it all, so long as it's defined risk. Now, when it comes to spreads, what they call the account is an IRA, but then it says IRA like margin. Margin doesn't mean that you can borrow capital. All right, so I want to make that clear. Inside of an IRA, in a tax-deferred account, you cannot borrow capital from the brokerage firm. So everything is going to be what they call cash secured. It means if you have $50,000 in the IRA, what can you trade? 50 grand. Whether you do spreads, whether you do this, that. Last but not least, one of the trades that you can, in fact, do, okay? You can sell naked puts so long as they are cash secured. Again, you can sell naked puts so long as they cash secured. That means, in this example, if you were to sell a 105 put, you have to be capable of buying Facebook at 105. Like, you have to have enough cash in your account. So if you go out there and were to do 10 contracts, yeah, you're looking at like $105,000 that you have to have in the account, minus, of course, the $1.17 that you collected. Okay, so you are going to collect $1.17, so it's still like you're going to have what? I'll just round it to about $104,000 of capital inside of the account. If you do one contract, you're going to have 10,000, 300 and some odd dollars inside of the account. Because if you sell puts, don't forget, the puts are going to be cash secured. Okay, what can you not do inside of an IRA? Okay, when it comes to options, there's not that much you can't do, but there are things that you cannot do. When it comes to options, really, the big do not do is you cannot sell calls naked. And you're like, that's it? That's pretty much it. You can't sell calls naked. Now, when it comes to options, like, all right, so I can sell puts as long as they're cash secured. But you got to remember, if you're going to sell puts, it's going to eat up a whole lot of capital, right? And that's not capital that you can use. That's cash secured. It means, hey, if you sell, one contract of those puts, that $10,000, that thing is locked up until that trade, okay, matures or you close that trade. But you can't sell naked calls, and you can't sell naked calls because technically speaking, it's quote-unquote undefined amounts of risk, right? If you sell, like, in this case, a 110 call, if you sell a 110 call for 60 cents, where could Facebook go? 500! Okay? Could go to 500. That sounds unreasonable, but it could happen. Anything could happen. It's a marketplace, a market, I tell you. And if you sell those 110 calls naked, it's undefined risk. That is disallowed inside of an IRA. There's one other thing. It's pertaining to the stock. You cannot sell stock short inside of the IRA. So you can't sell stock short, and you can't sell naked calls. But if you want a substitute for selling stock short, what you could do is you can come over here, Options, Theoreticals, and Greeks, and go to Delta, and you can find an option that has above, in this case, an 85 delta, and you could use above the 85 delta as a short stock substitution. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining.